we'll just give folks a minute to come in and log in. We have folks coming in already. We're going to give some people just a minute to get in. We have lots and lots of people that are logging in right now, and it kind of takes a second with GoToWebinar to get that audio to log in and everything to queue up. So we're going to give them just a moment. This is a new record, by the way, for registrations awesome. For one of our webinars. We're really, really excited. Okay. We have a good number of folks coming in here, so we'll go ahead and get started. We want to value everybody's time. Hello, we're really, really excited to have you here. My name is Kimberly McCaffrey. I am the Customer Learning and Development Coordinator at InventoryLab, and we're going to be welcoming Stephen a little bit later, but I'd like to invite my colleague Jeff to go ahead and say hello real quick.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, one of the customer champions. You'll see me in the Facebook group as well.
And Jeff and I are really excited about tonight. We have been really big fans of Stephen Smotherman and Full-Time FBA. We followed his group long before we even ever joined the Inventory Lab team. And I immediately, after joining the Inventory Lab team, made a buzz line for Stephen, really just wanting to work with him. And Jeff and I wanted to collaborate with him. We really believe in his mission. So Full-Time FBA is based on Stephen's concept and his belief that you can make a full-time income on part-time hours. And really the wish is for you to be able to take those hours and have something more meaningful done with them, whether that be family or friends, hobby, kids, self-care, whatever that might be, but that is something that can be accomplished via e-commerce, and something he believes very strongly about. And he really aligns with us at Inventory Lab, so we're really excited to bring this information to you. So, Stephen, welcome.
How you doing? It's good to be here. I'm excited.
I'm glad we're finally here. It's been since about a year that we've been kind of kicking around this idea, so I'm really excited to finally be here. And we're going to be talking about Camel, 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 and Keepa, two really, really powerful tools that Jeff and I will readily admit we know we are not using it to its fullest potential. There is a lot to see there. We know the basics,
That's true.
But we see kind of what you do with that, and we're like, I'm not seeing that. I don't know how to use that. So we're excited to learn, actually, along with everybody else. So kind of like, let's start with the basics before we start rolling with like all the visual aids, and we'll get into a lot of that. But what is Camel, 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 and Keepa? So like the real basics. What is the purpose of these tools?
Well, Camel, Camel, Camel was first created as a tool of for customers of Amazon to be able to track prices and track sales rank, things like that, so that they could, know that sometimes they can get a better price elsewhere. But really smart Amazon sellers started to realize, hey, if Camel, Camel, Camel is tracking price history and sales rank history, we can use that to make better sourcing decisions. And so after Camel, Camel, Camel became really popular among Amazon sellers, Keepa came out and started to do some similar things. So bottom line, they both offer up a graph that shows you the price history and the sales rank history for almost every item on Amazon. And Amazon sellers like me, and I love teaching others how to do it, you're able to take the past and try to predict the future so that you can know what prices to expect and what sales velocity to expect for your products on Amazon.
Wow. That's a lot of information. I know that you make a lot of information available to the folks in your group too, and we'll kind of make sure that everybody has access to that a little bit later. Stephen puts out a monthly list of sales ranks, and that, because they change and how they change, really kind of influences all of that. So it's not just on face value. It's kind of looking at it through that lens is really, really important. I have, by the way, GoToWebinar is throwing up a bunch of red flags at me, telling me you've reached capacity, and I'm not exactly sure why. But for anybody that's seeing this after the fact, I apologize if you weren't able to get into the webinar. I'm not really sure what's happening with GoToWebinar tonight, but we are going to be sending this link out to everyone to make sure that you have that. Jeff, you don't have any idea what's going on with that system, do you?
No, I saw those too, and I was looking at the options and things to see if we could expand that, but I don't see where you can after the fact.
We should be able to have up to 1,000 registrants. Man, it made me break out in a sweat. Oh my Lord. Okay. So, but we'll, I'm not really sure what's in. I'll follow up with those GoToWebinar folks later and yank a knot in their tail. But going back to Camel, 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 and Keepa. So what's the difference between the two? They kind of look very similar. What's the difference?
Yeah, the purposes and what they show is very similar, but how they show it is a little bit different. Camel, Camel, Camel will show you a graph that just has the pricing history, and then there's a tab that you can change to look at the sales rank history, and then you can change, the time that you're looking at, whether the last day, the last month, the last 3 months, and so that's how Camel Camel has it set up. Whereas Keepa has it all on one page, and you can turn on and off the different lines of the graph, so you can see all of the pricing history and sales rank history. And when I say pricing history, I don't just mean the lowest price of Amazon. It's the lowest price of Amazon at any particular time, the lowest price of all new sellers, FBA, all new merchant fulfilled, all used FBA, all merchant fulfilled, used product. I mean, so it's like there's so much information that you can see on the Keepa graph at once, or you can click little buttons and turn off and just see the information that you want. So it's just how they show the information, but most of the time they are showing the exact same information.
Gotcha. I did not know that. I thought I was supposed to be getting something different between the two. That's like really, really good to know. So of course we're looking at Camel, 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 and Keepa because this is an Inventory Lab webinar. We're looking at it through Inventory Lab tools, that being Scoutify and Scout. I actually have our PowerPoint presentation, just the slides really quickly that show those areas. I'll go ahead and just demonstrate them really quick, just so you know where to find them. So if we are looking at Scout, you find the item you want to sell, you click Select, and then all of those tools are available right here. It's amongst some other tools. You have BookScouter, eBay, Google. Here's Camel, Camel, Camel. Here's Keepa and Prime Comparison, and then the Amazon Restrictions tool. But then we can go ahead and go forward, and we're going to take a look at Scoutify really quickly, just so you know where to find them. So after you scan an item, you would click the hamburger icon right here to open up the menu on the left, and that's where you're going to find all of those tools. The same ones that are available in Scout are available here in Scoutify as well. And each of these are going to open up in a new tab. So you're not going to be closing out of Scout and going into Camel, 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 or completely closing out Scoutify. It's just going to open up in a new tab, so you can quickly get the information you want, and then you're able to navigate back in again. Very, very easy to find. We can share, though, that is not going to be located exactly there. Pretty soon, actually, we're looking at a fantastic update coming for Scoutify that folks are really going to be excited about. I can't give a lot of information about it, but it's going to look a lot different, and you're going to have a lot of information available to you that you didn't have before. I did get permission that I can share some vague hints. For example, you're going to be able to define your ideal buy. What does that mean for your business? It's up to you to tell Scoutify, and Scoutify will tell you when you found an ideal buy. You're also going to be able to get information, maybe like your sales history of something, maybe how many you have on hand. Some really great information to give you an idea to make that informed purchase decision. I love how it looks. It's kind of amazing. It's really intuitive. I'm just really proud of the work that we've done. We're excited to roll it out. We're internally testing right now, and so it should be available relatively soon. So we'll have a little bit of external testing, and then it'll be available to the masses. But we want to know more about Camel, 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 and Keepa. Those are not going to change. They're going to look exactly the same. So what I'm actually going to do, now that we know where to find them, we know their purpose, and we know the difference between the two, or that there isn't, and how we can use them. I'm actually going to turn off my status as a presenter, and I'm going to turn that over to Steven, because I know he has a lot of great visual aids to show us. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead, I think Jeff and I are going to go ahead and turn off our webcams as well. And there we go.
All right, so let's see. I'm going to show you. All right, so Let's see, Inventory Lab special webinar. We're going to be talking about all sorts of fun stuff when it comes to using Camel, 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 and Keepa with Scoutify and Scout for maximum profit. So I want to make sure everyone can you see that all right?
I can, yes.
All right, very good. That's awesome. So, but before we get into that, I have something that's just vital for you to use when you're outsourcing to make the best sourcing decision possible. So when you're outsourcing, I got a free sales rank chart for you. If you go to fulltimefba.com/sales rank, I update the sales rank chart once a month, and what it is it has the main categories on Amazon, and it has a total number of items in each main category, and then I break it down into the top 1%, the top 3%, the top 5%, the top 10%, and the reason why I do that is because every category on Amazon has its own personality, and I mean, they act differently when it comes to sales velocity and what sales ranks are good in certain categories. And to give you an example, let's look at a 100,000 sales rank. If we look at a 100,000 sales rank in books, 100,000 sales rank is well within the top 1% of books. Top 1% is usually it's selling fast, selling a lot faster than the top 3%, a lot faster than top 5%, and way faster than the top 10%. So that's a good sales rank. But 100,000 in toys and games, well, that's going to be in the top 3% in toys and games. So it's not as fast, but it's still fast. And so I like to update this once a month. So if you go to fulltimefba.com/sales rank once a month, I will send you the latest update with the latest numbers for the sales rank chart, and I'll throw in a free book for you too. Seller Central Tips. It's a book about reimbursements, refunds, and how to correct Amazon glitches. That's just all for free when you go to fulltimefba.com/sales rank. And I'll tell you how I use this sales rank chart a little bit later in this webinar. So
I'm so excited. I need that book, Stephen.
yeah, Amazon
I'm gonna have to
can
re-register.
No problem. Yeah, Amazon can be kind of glitchy, and so this is something that we've worked on. In fact, we're actually about to update it. We've got another tip that we're going to be adding to the book. So just make sure you're subscribed, fulltimefba.com/sales rank, and you'll get the free book now, and you'll get the updated with the extra tip because, hey, Seller Central, it's a crazy place. We need more tips.
That is awesome. I did want to mention really quickly the question section of your GoToWebinar control panel. Feel free to go ahead and start plugging questions in there as we move through. Jeff's going to bring up some of those questions later on for that Q&A. So if you do have questions, go ahead and feel free to start plugging those in.
Awesome. That's good stuff. So most of the time when we're buying stuff for our inventory, we want to make a profitable inventory decision, but a lot of times we make bad decisions. And here's why. When we think about sourcing profitable inventory, we usually only think about two things. Number one, the ROI, the return on investment. Is this going to make me a profit when it sells? Or we think about the sales rank. Is this item going to sell quickly? And we only think about those two things when we need to take a little bit deeper look to make a better sourcing decision. And so, of course, when you're using Scoutify, it shows up right there on the screen. You see that you can see what the ROI is. You can see what the rank is on Scoutify, and I love that. But you want to be able to make a better decision, and that's why I love Scoutify and the fact that when you click on this little button right here, it opens up the list of options, and you can go and check out the Camel 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 page or the Keepa page to get more information, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. So why is rank and ROI not enough information? Well, you need to realize a few things. You need to realize how often things change on Amazon. Amazon themselves reprices their products 2.5 million times a day. This is crazy. To kind of compare this, Walmart.com will reprice their products about 10,000 times a month. So this is, Amazon has this algorithm going, it's repricing all the time, it's going up and down. So you need to know about those prices that are going up, and that's just Amazon as a seller. You would think about third-party sellers, they've got repricers. Up and down, the prices are going up and down all the time. If an item sells, the price will go up to the next price, or, you know, and then of course you got sales rank. Sales rank is updated by Amazon once an hour, so sales rank changes 24 times a day. So when you think about the prices going up and down, sales rank is going up and down all the time, why are we making decisions for profitable inventory based on a single snapshot in time from what we're looking at on our phone? We need a little bit more information, and that's where Camel, 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 and Keepa come in. So when we realize how often things change on Amazon, and we understand that we need more information than just a single snapshot in time, then we check out Camel, Camel, Camel. So back to our sourcing app, when we're taking a look at it and we're looking at the ROI and we're looking at the rank, again, so simple. You can just click the little button here and it brings up a Camel, 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 and a Keepa graph. So I'm going to go and show you real quickly a little bit about Camel, Camel, Camel first. Now, this is me and a camel. He's my buddy. He gives me all the secrets about Camel, Camel, Camel. And, okay, actually, this is just from my church's Living Nativity thing from Christmas time, but it's funny. I like camels. I collect little camel things, and don't judge me. So, that's Camel, Camel, Camel. Let me bring up on my screen what Camel, Camel, Camel looks like. I'm going to need to change my screen real quick, and let's see. All right, so can you see CamelCamelCamel.com here?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So this is CamelCamelCamel.com. It's awesome. You can change and look at so many different Amazon websites. You can do Amazon.ca, Amazon in China, Japan, all over the place. We're going to be, for example, looking at Amazon.com for the United States, and we're going to look at a board game. A lot of people know I like board games, so we're going to check out this board game and find out a little bit more information about this board game. Now, this is the Seinfeld Scene It board game, and automatically it brings up the price history of this item. Now, this is the Camel, Camel, Camel page. We're going to look at Keepa in just a minute. And I'm showing you on my desktop. Obviously, you can look at the easy links on Scout on your desktop. It'll pop open the little Camel, Camel, Camel graph. Or if you're using Scoutify, there's the quick and easy links in Scoutify to open up a camel graph. But if you look on this, the left side of the screen is the price from 0 to 40 bucks. And on the right side, on the bottom of the screen, you have the dates. This Camel, Camel, Camel has been around so long, it's been tracking this item since August 13th of 2008. So we've got lots of information that will help us make a good decision. And if you start seeing, the prices, they go up and down, up and down, up and down. Can you guess what time of year the prices are probably going up on this toy? It's during Q4. And so, again, if you're sourcing an item in September, you might want to take a look at what the price was last November or last December, and you might be able to sell it for an extra 10 bucks or an extra 20 bucks just by waiting a few. And that's just one of the perks of checking out the price history. So when you're looking at Camel, you can change the date range. You can change and look at the last year of a particular item, the last 6 months, the last 3 months, the last month. And right now it's showing third-party new prices. You can also look at third-party used prices and compare. And you can also take a look at Amazon prices and change that all around to get some information to be able to help you make a really good decision. So let's take a look at sales rank now. Sales rank is really important because the better the sales rank, the more an item will sell on Amazon. So I'm scrolling down here while the sales rank page loads. This is for this goes back to 2010. That's way too much. Let's take a look at the last year. So now it kind of looks like a lie detector test where someone's lying all the time. But again, take a look at when the sales rank stays higher. It's right here during December, during Q4. So you know this item sells more during Q4. So I know I'm rolling right through this, but it's just so much awesome stuff. On the left side, you got the sales rank 0 at the top, all the way to 200,000, and you got the date from today all the way back to May 23rd of 2016. And again, you can change the date ranges to the last 6 months, the last 3 months, the last month. And this is really good to know because a lot of times people will say, I like, let's say the toy category, some people think I'm only going to buy items that are ranked under 100,000 in toys. And so they look on their app when they're sourcing, they see an item is ranked under 100,000 in toys, they buy it. They see an item is ranked over 100,000 in toys, they leave it. And because, they want to be able to make a good sourcing decision, so they're seeing that the 100,000 in toys, it's about in the top 3%. And so, but when you look at this graph and you see the sales rank has changed, about half the time the sales rank is better, is lower than 100,000, and the other half of the time the sales rank is higher than 100,000. So depending on what day of the week you're sourcing this item, sometimes it's going to meet your criteria, sometimes it's not. So instead of looking at the sales rank of today, take a look at the last 30 days, the last 3 months or 6 months, and see what the average sales rank is so that you can make a better sourcing decision. Now, when you're looking at a Camel 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 graph, anytime the sales rank number goes from a higher number to a lower number means at least one sale. So one sale when it comes from a higher number to a lower number. So in the last 30 days, in the last month, we can see that this Seinfeld Scene It board game has sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 14, 15, 16, 17. It sold about 17 times in the last month. Now I'm not counting these little bumps here because that might just be a little tweak in the algorithm, or it might just be Amazon adding some more items to their catalog. So I don't count the little ones right here, but about 17, 18. If we do count the little bumps, 20 times in a month. So would you, if you look at the competition for this item, and the competition only has like 5 sellers, but it's selling 20 times a month, you know that that's something that's going to sell fairly quickly for you, even if you're scanning it on the day it's ranked 168,823. So that's just a taste of what looking at a Camel 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 graph can do to make a better sourcing decision, and it's awesome. So that's a little introduction to Camel Camel Camel, and now I'm going to turn the fire hose on even harder and show you Keepa. So on Keepa, again, I'm showing you on the desktop, but you can easily in Scout or Scoutify do a quick little button, click that little link, and open up the Keepa graph. And so we're going to look at Paw Patrol Zuma Hovercraft, and hopefully I spelled that correctly. So here we go. So here's a Keepa graph, and let me turn this off for just a second. Here's a Keepa graph for this Paw Patrol Zuma Hovercraft, and while Camel 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 will have the price on one tab and the sales rank on another tab, Keepa combines them together and shows you all at once. And they have turned on Amazon, the third-party new, the used, and then the sales rank. And as you see me hovering over it, it kind of emphasizes those particular items. And while you hover over the actual graph, you can actually see at the bottom the date changes and the prices changes from the time that the information was gathered. So again, on the left side you have the price from 0 to 20. On the right side you've got the sales rank from 0 to 500. Now Camel 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 and Keepa, Camel 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 will show the sales rank 0 at the top of the graph. Well, Keepa will show it at the bottom of the graph. If that's too confusing and you want them both to look at the same, you can just click this little button here, 91 sales rank, and that will flip it so that they're now similar again, where the 0 is at the top. I'm going to go ahead and flip that back. So when you're reading a Keepa graph, you can see that the shaded area here is when Amazon is in stock. Amazon's in stock with the shaded area here, but the white area where there's not the shading, that's when Amazon is out of stock. This is good information to know if you don't like to compete with Amazon, or if you like to choose wisely when you do compete with Amazon. So this is good information to have, and you can see at different times how the sales rank changes when prices go up and down. And again, you can change the timeline of when you're looking at this information. You can look at the last month, the last week, the last day. You can look at the last year. Or you can look at the all-time information for that particular item. Another cool thing that Keepa has is if you just want to zoom in on a certain time period. Say I want to look at Q4 of last year. I'll just look at November, and I'll scroll over. I'll put my cursor down to December, and I can just zoom right into Q4 and see the information zoomed in. So you can actually take a zoomed-in peek at the past on Keepa. But wait, there's more.
My mind is like blown right now.
I know. So you can also take a look and click this little more historical data here, and it will open up, and what it will do is it'll tell you the used or the new and used offers have in other words, the number of competitors that are in stock at that moment, and you can kind of see what what the supply and demand is. You see the supply starts to go down, well, what happens to the price? The price goes up. When supply goes down, the price pops up. And so Keepa has so many other options that you can choose, warehouse deals, third party, all that stuff. They give you more information that you need, and obviously we live in a world of information overload, and so you want to be able to pick and choose which ones to look at. Usually, I just like to look at the new price, the new price, the Amazon price, and the sales rank. I can turn off the used. If I want to just look at sales rank by itself, I can turn that off too, and be able to see whatever information that I want. And then one little last thing, you can look at the statistics, and that will give you the average over the last 90 days. You can see the average sales rank is 1,426 over the last 90 days. So that's really good when you're wanting to pick an item. You want the average sales rank to be in the top 1% or the top 3%. Different categories, like I said before, have different personalities, and with the office supplies, I only buy in the top 1%. With toys, I'll buy in the top 3%, maybe top 5% during Q4. With books, I want to stay in the top 3% for books. And so, it's different categories have different personalities, and using Camel, 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 and Keepa both help you make a smarter sourcing decision. So someone might be asking me in their head, do I do this on every single item I look at? And I would say no. If you look at an item and the average sales rank is in the top 1%, usually those items are a sure bet, and you don't need to look at the pricing history or the sales rank history. Usually the top 1% is a pretty sure bet. But if it's in the top 3% or 5%, I usually avoid the top 10% unless the ROI is amazing. But the top 3% and the top 5%, I will look at the Camel, Camel, Camel graph or the Keepa graphs to get a better idea of the big picture and use the past to help predict the future. So that's a little bit about Camel, 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 and Keepa. I love Camel, Camel, Camel. I love Keepa, and that's why I love Scoutify. The Amazon Seller app is awesome. I use it all the time when I want to communicate with sellers, when I check my sales, but they do not have links to Camel, 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 and Keepa, but Scoutify, they obviously do, and it's something that I seriously cannot live without, and is something that I can't imagine life without it. And the cool thing is that both Camel, 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 and Keepa are absolutely free to use. You can sign up for an account, and the accounts are free. Don't tell them, but I would pay for their services. I really would. It's that valuable. And so that's my little overview of Camel, 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 and Keepa and how I use it right in the Scoutify app and on Scout too. When I'm posting my items, listing them to Amazon, I want to double check to make sure I'm priced competitively. Just take a look at the Keepa graph to see what I want to price at, and it seriously saves the day.
I sent you questions before this, just things like that I would want to know, and really I'm looking at my questions now and I'm like, yeah, they're completely irrelevant.
Well, there's one question that you asked me that I actually got a slide for.
Oh.
You had asked me one question. You had said a time that you thought something was a bad buy, but it was actually a great buy thanks to a Camel, 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 or a Keepa graph. I actually have a slide here. There was a time where I was sourcing an item, and it was in the patio, lawn, and garden, and it was $225,000. And so if I look at patio, lawn, and garden, $225,000, I would see that is over the top 5%, into the top 10%, and that's not selling fast enough for me. I'm not willing to pay for that. That's something I'm going to end up paying a long-term storage fee for. So that would be a pass for me. But then I took a look at a Keepa graph and realized that, and here's the Keepa graph, I realized that I was looking at the item on this day here. It was about April 10th. And on April 10th, the sales rank was that high because Amazon was out of stock. No Amazon or third-party seller was in stock on that item, so the sales rank went up. When Amazon or a third-party seller came back into stock, the sales continued to go and was selling very consistently for $35. And so a lot of times you just take a look at that sales rank and you assume it's bad, but it's not, because boom, there's probably a good reason. Either the price is too high artificially high, and so the sales rank goes up, or Amazon's out of stock and the price goes up. So that saved the day for me there.
Wow. I would have completely walked away from that. Jeff, did you know about all of this? If I find out that you knew all this stuff, like
I'm holding out on you.
We didn't even finish up with Camel, 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 and I was already sitting here like, how did I not know this? How did I not know this?
That's my reaction. It's like, my gosh, why was I not told this before? I should have been well aware of this, but had no idea.
Oh my word, that's so amazing. Yeah, I don't even. Oh my goodness. So when we're talking about like retail arbitrage, this kind of sounds like a lot to be doing when you're out scanning. And for nervous retail arbitrageurs like me, you know, who I kind of super covert about my scanning. Unlike my husband, who just owns that. You know, he's just like, oh yes, I'm scanning. Hello, how are you? How do you do this to quickly get this information? Are you just like lightning fast? You're just able to look at it, you immediately see what you need and move on?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a skill that develops over time, and so it's like working out. It's like, you know, you're developing a muscle, and so at first, you know, it takes a long time, and it's a little bit difficult. But after, you know, I would think a couple of weeks of using Camel, Camel, or Camel or Keepa, you know, you'd be able to just look up and be able to look at the graph and immediately see the information that you want. When you look at a Keepa graph, it automatically shows you the last 30 days, and most of the time that's a long enough span for you to look at to get an idea of if that item is consistently selling and about what price it's consistently selling. And so when you're able to see that information, most of the time you don't have to even open up these other little tabs and find out all these other information or click all the buttons to change things around. You're able to do it fairly quickly. And so, like I said before, if you see an item and the sales rank is in the top 1% of that category and you like it, I say go for it. Don't take the time to look at Camel, 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 or Keepa. If it turns out being a dud, it's not worth our time to look up the back information of every single item that you want to buy. So if it's in the top 1%, get it. If it's in the top 3%, and kind of leaning towards the top 5%, I would just double check. And that's what I love about Scoutify, just being able to super easily click the little button, click the Keepa graph, look in. If I need to zoom in with my fingers, I just pinch in and look at that information. Then I click back out. I click buy, add the price, the quantity. I'm done. Go on to the next item. And so it's an automatic thing for me, and it can be for you too. And some people think that is a lot. That just will add time to my sourcing. Well, let me ask you this: would you rather add time to your sourcing to make a better sourcing decision now, or do you want to spend time repricing your item later because it's not selling at the price you're expecting, or having to return your items because they're never going to sell, or having to deal with long-term storage fees because they might sell but they don't sell fast enough? You're going to save yourself from that headache down the road by spending an extra 10, 20 seconds taking the time right now to look at the graphs.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think I can see how that would be the situation, that it's like a muscle that you need to flex, like becoming literate in Keepa. Just like you don't have to sound out words anymore, you're able to look at a word and know immediately what it says, being able to quickly look at that graph and get that information. But what I was thinking, like when you were talking about Camel, 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 it's like literally a completely informed purchase decision. You can know absolutely, is it going to sell, is it not, and have a solid idea of when it's going to sell.
Right.
It's not a guessing game, which so many of us, especially starting out retail arbitrage and such, it is a guessing game. You're like, well, maybe, but to be able to look at that and know what you're seeing, it's a decision. It's a hardcore decision. Like, yep, I'm feeling pretty good about that, and and that's the difference between clearing the shelf or like, well, I talk pretty often about how I didn't have a background in business, and I was very tentative with my decisions. Like, well, I'll just buy 4 or 5 because I don't know. Well, how much money did I leave on the table by not clearing a shelf? If I know for sure, I'm clearing that shelf.
Right.
It's what a huge difference. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, because this item here that I have on my screen, you know, it's selling every time for this one, every time the sales rank number goes down, that's at least one sale. And I say at least one sale because sometimes the jump might be higher because it's multiple sales. And you can look down here. There's at one point there was only one competitor, and then there's even at 4 competitors. That's not much. You're going to be able to share the buy box and rotate the buy box with these other sellers because it's just selling so quickly.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually have an example up here on my screen. Would it be okay with you if I switched over?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the questions. Let me just go ahead and make myself the presenter again. We'll take a look at those. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I was born and raised in the state of Maryland, and in Maryland we eat Utz and we like crab chips. So this is my go-to grocery item. So here, this is the Scout screen. So of course, you know, I've clicked on Keepa and Camel Camel Camel, and here is the Keepa graph. So I haven't showed this to Stephen yet. I just asked him, like, hey, would you mind if I threw one your way, and you can help me kind of read it a little bit. First of all, I did not realize that shaded area was the time that Amazon had that item in stock. How did I not know that? But what else am I seeing here?
So when you're looking at this, you're seeing a lot of different little bit pieces of information. So yeah, the time where there's the white spaces, that's when Amazon is out of stock. And you see these little boxes, these little blue boxes that are, you know, distributed throughout the area. That is you have the little blue, I can't think of it, blue circle selected on the right side. That is the third-party fulfilled by merchant price. So that is where there's a third-party fulfilled by merchant. That is the current low price at that time for the fulfilled by merchant.
Wow.
And so there's that kind of information. And another thing that you can start to realize is take a look at what happens to the sales rank when Amazon goes out of stock. Sales rank ends up going higher for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of times when Amazon goes out of stock, the third-party prices go up, and so that's going to slow the sales rank down a little bit. Another reason is because Amazon is not putting their product at the top of the search results anymore because they're out of stock. So it's not getting as much traffic when Amazon is out of stock. But you can still see that there is still traffic because there are still sales. The sales rank is still being really, really good. So that's a few of the things that stand out to me. And again, you can see comparing when the Amazon is out of stock and what happens to the sales rank when the supply goes up and down at the bottom of the screen. So that's pretty cool looking at that and comparing all that information.
Interesting. And going over then to Camel. Let me just scroll down here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this one I thought was a really good example. So I would look at this and I would be relatively lost because there is such a really big difference in price, and I would feel like, well, I don't know. It's either going to sell for $8 or it's going to sell for 20. I have no idea.
Right. So here's my thought on this item. If you take a look at that's the lifetime of that particular product. So that's going all the way back to November 16th, 2015. If you zoom into the last year, you can see that there are times where this Amazon line, the green line, is a solid line, and then there's also a time where the green line is a dotted line. This is CamelCamelCamel's way of showing you when Amazon is either in stock or out of stock. If that's a solid line on the CamelCamelCamel graph, it means that Amazon's in stock. If it's the dotted line, it means that's when Amazon is out of stock. So
I had no idea.
They also have that same information. It's just showed differently. But for an Amazon seller, especially Amazon FBA, I totally ignore Amazon's prices, and I only compete against third-party new. If Amazon's in stock, obviously I take in that information, but when I'm deciding my own item, I take a look at the third-party new. So now you have that there, and wow, how interesting the comparison of times that the prices go straight up and straight down. I don't know if the guy priced at $2.50 sells out, and then the price goes up to $20.50 or whatever. But that's a lot of this up and down all over the place. But you can see at the bottom of the graph, underneath the graph, it does try to give you 3 different tabs that will show you Amazon's current, high, lowest, and average, and then you can also take a look at the third-party new and used current, high, lowest, and average of prices, and then it will tell you when the prices have changed for Amazon. So again, more information for you to take a look at, and so you can make a good decision. For this particular item, since the last year, the prices have gone up and down so much. I don't know if I would be trying to sell this item unless the sales rank is so super crazy. So take a look at the sales rank tab, and let's see what that looks like.
There we go.
All right, so it's a grocery item, and if I take a look at grocery and gourmet food, then the top 3%, which is my comfort zone, is about 30,000, and so it looks like most of the year it's probably averaged around 50,000. So that's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but not too far. It seems like this item, it sells pretty consistently over the last. Oh, that's over the lifetime of the time. But when you take a look at the last year, it gives even a better picture. It looks like an average sales rank of around 50,000, but sometimes it's a lot better and sometimes it's a lot worse. But yeah, you can see that this item has sold consistently all year round, and
I'm probably responsible for that sales rank, by the way.
Oh yeah, well good.
Like I'm looking at that, thinking like, was that period of time where I started running again, and I didn't crave salty stuff as much? Like I'm pretty sure I'm responsible for that little dip there, keeping them in business. Let me tell you.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. Jeff, can you think of anything you'd like to ask before we switch it over to Q&A?
My mind's kind of a blur right now. There's so much good information here. I had no idea. I look at those things and it's like, okay, that's a foreign language, so I'm glad we're able to get Stephen on here and explain some of this.
Yeah, and I'm glad that this is being recorded, because I know that, there's things that are so natural to me that I might talk about, and it might take a while for it to sink in. You miss out on some of the other things. You can watch the replay and watch it again and be able to really have it sink in, because I honestly believe the #1 reason Amazon FBA sellers decide to quit selling on Amazon is because they don't understand this information, and they're like, what, I tried selling on Amazon, people tanked the prices, I couldn't sell my stuff. When I sent it in, it was selling for $50, and now it's selling for $10. Well, you might have noticed that it was, if you looked at the graph, it wasn't selling for $50. It was just priced at $50, and the sales rank wasn't that good at that time. And when the sales rank is good, it was priced because it was priced around $10. And so when you get that information, it saves you from the headaches of having items that never sell and feeling frustrated. And I really think that the people who get this are the ones that are going to make it in the long run.
I think you're absolutely right. We were just in a proven growth workshop in California with Jim Cockram's group, and I can't tell you how many people we talked to about that. There is really almost like an evolution for a seller. When you start off, it's usually retail arbitrage, but there's a tipping point that you move then further into your business, and you're growing your business, because you kind of hit a wall sometimes with retail arbitrage, but maybe you hire a team or move into private label or whatever. But it's the people that can't make it over that tipping point that drop off, and they miss that opportunity to make that full-time income on part-time hours. I mean, you just literally told the story of my early FBA life. I would think I'm making a decision. I didn't have InventoryLab. I was looking at the seller app. I was trying to figure things out, but I probably have 37 bottles of shampoo downstairs in my basement that I purchased.
Yeah.
And
that's tuition. That's the tuition that you've paid to learn the lessons. And everyone does that. Everyone has a story of the thing that they went too deep on, and now they're stuck with it. And everyone has a story of the thing that they wish they bought more of but didn't.
but the idea that those decisions could be made based in a truth, you know, to be able to gather that data quickly and make an informed decision, not a Hail Mary pass, but that's just a game-changing concept for me. And I just know, like, for our people, Inventory Lab or otherwise, you know, we want to see everybody be able to succeed. We know what's on the other side of e-commerce and the freedom that people are and empowerment that people can find. We want to see them succeed, and to get a hold of this information is, you know, it's not a guessing game. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. It's so amazing. And I know that you have content that's even more in depth about all of this, but just this baseline information on, you know, what the heck we're looking at when we look at these graphs.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. I really, just like Jeff, like my brain right now is just, I'm speechless. I'm so excited. I knew this was going to be good info, but I did not really expect it to be like this amazing. Oh my goodness.
Well,
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, do you mind, before we jump into the Q&A, I can tell everyone just a little bit about the, you know, if you want to take things to the next level with this information? Sure.
Do you want us to turn our webcams back off, or do you have a slide? And I'll change it back over?
I've got a slide. Yeah, let me see.
Perfect. I will switch back over. Oh, go to webinar. Jeff, by the way, while we were talking, went over and checked on that. We are set to 1,000 participants, attendees, and he says he does not know why it's cutting us off. It's cutting off attendees. It is set to 1,000. He is trying to kind of figure that out, but it's just it says exactly what it's supposed to say. I'm a little bit ragey about that.
I would be too. I would be too. So yeah, but we got this recording, so there's a silver lining. So. Yeah. So I just want to remind everyone again, if you can see on the screen, the free sales rank chart link, fulltimefba.com/sales rank, and then the book, Seller Central Tips. We're about to update this and give you even another tip. If you go to that link, you'll get both of those sent to your inbox very quickly. And if you're curious about taking things to the next level with your knowledge of Camel, 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 and Keepa, I do have a few things I want to share with you. I put together a course. It's called The Reseller's Guide to How to Keep a Camel. So if you go to howtokeepacamel.com and use the code Scoutify, you can save $10. But no, the course is not about how to keep camels. It's about how to use Keepa and Camel to maximum profits. And I mean, seriously, using Amazon sales history to make smart sourcing decisions. It's a combination ebook and video course. The course is about 4.5 hours of video. The book is, you know, is the same content as the video. So if you prefer reading it and looking at pictures on a page, you can get the ebook, or you can read the ebook. If you just like to watch the videos, and I'll show you with my my screen about Camel, 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 and Keepa, then you can watch the videos, but all together in one package. And I go in depth about how to know how deep to go on an inventory purchase, how many you need to buy, how to use Camel, 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 and Keepa for seasonal purchases. Like I teased before, I've bought items in September knowing that in November it's going to be priced about $30 higher, and I'm fine waiting a few months for that price to go up. I'm able to buy items that I know is not going to tank in inventory, and if it does tank, it might just be temporarily, and I know I can be patient and the price will recover. I'm able to deal with long-term storage fees a lot smarter, knowing which items I'll pay a long-term storage fee on because the price is going to recover and it's going to be a lot better than if I just take the price myself and get rid of it. So many other things. How to know when to compete against Amazon, how to compete against Amazon if they're a competitor. So much more than that. I won't go into any more detail about it, but you can check it out, howtokeepacamel.com, and use Scoutify as the code, and you can save $10. And if you're watching this Inventory Lab webinar and you're still on the fence, what are you waiting for? You should sign up for Inventory Lab. fulltimefba.com/Inventory Lab is a good place to go. And I'm addicted to Scoutify. I seriously can't wait until Scoutify gets updated, and I'm looking forward to that because I already am in love with it. And if it continues to get even better, I don't know if that's possible, but you're saying it is, so I believe you, and I can't wait to use it.
I'm pretty excited. I can't even lie. Can't even lie.
Yeah, same here.
And we're gonna do our Q&A, but we have so many attendees tonight. We are gonna ask you, if you don't get your question answered, to head over to the Full-Time FBA Facebook group. Join his group, plug your questions in there. Jeff and I are going to kind of keep an eye on that as well, and answer your questions. And also, of course, you can post your questions in the Inventory Lab Facebook group. But if you go over to Full-Time FBA, you join his group, you can. It's a very active group, really, really great people. And you'll be able to see, get their opinion on the course, or get their opinion on any other information. But Stephen makes a ton of information just available for everybody. He just enjoys seeing people succeed. But I just encourage you just to join his group, just to hang out with those folks, because they're kind of awesome, and I kind of like them.
Thank you. Yeah, we love helping people. And yeah, if you go to fulltimefba.com/Facebook, that will forward you right to the Facebook group for Full-Time FBA. We've got a few questions that we ask everyone answer before they join, and that's just to make sure you're a real person and that you actually are wanting to learn about FBA. We're able to screen a lot of people who are either there to spam or they're Facebook bots or whatever. So just to answer a few questions, and then you can be admitted.
I appreciate that you do that too. And you're at how many thousands of members in that group now?
I can't remember, 5,000, 6,000. I can't remember.
Yeah, you just hit a milestone the other day.
Oh.
And I thought I remembered seeing that we just hit X number of thousands of members, and I thought, oh my word! And he screens all of them. Goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well,
yeah, we're
Jeff,
not one of those groups that's going to automatically add people without them asking. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate that too, because there's a lot of groups out there, and I'm like, oh my word, that's an inappropriate thing going across my Facebook feed, right. Which is not a good thing. But Jeff, do we have any questions to tackle?
Yeah, we have quite a few here. But first, Michelle is in the group, and she says she's been selling for a year. She invested in Stephen's How to Keep a Camel course early on. Totally worth it, and this was a great review for me this evening.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, Michelle. Thank you so much. I mean, there's just like a lot of people out there that are peddling all kinds of stuff, and even though I say that it's important to us to align with, kind of collaborate with people that align with Inventory Lab and our passion for supporting sellers, I can, it's just me saying that, but to have somebody else saying it too that's actually gone through the program, and that's just a whole new level of endorsement.
Yeah, that's for sure. Kim had a question. What about new items that just hit the market? Camel, 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 and Keepa don't have those graphs. How do you determine what to do in that case?
That is a really good question, because yeah, there are new items hitting Amazon every day. There's people doing private label items. New items are being created by manufacturers. I do know that the very first time you try to seek information from Camel, 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 or Keepa, that's the moment they start doing their setting up their system to get that information. So if there is a time where you can wait, then you can go and look back a week later and see what the information is a week later. But if you don't want to wait, then what I usually do from there is I'll take a look at the brand, I'll take a look at what the item is, and I will kind of compare it maybe to some other items on Amazon. Say I found a brand new Hot Wheels toy, and I've scanned it on my app. It's not coming up, and I put in the information for Camel, 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 or Keepa is not coming up, and so maybe I'll take a look at that Hot Wheels toy that's similar to another Hot Wheels toys and see what that's like, and so that's what I usually try to do. Also, if there's any, if they've already received some reviews, I'll kind of read through some of the reviews to see if it's something that's been positive and good. And so I just kind of try to piece more information together, use some common sense, and then maybe try to test it out. I wouldn't clear the shelf or buy a whole lot of them without that information. But that's a really good question when you don't have that, because there's times, when either Camel, Camel, Camel goes down or Keepa goes down, and you don't even have that to be able to kind of use other information that is available for you to make the best decision.
I didn't even think about the reviews. That's a really great idea. And like from Scoutify, you can click on the item's image, and it'll open up Amazon.com right to the product detail page. You can just scroll down and get that there. I never thought about looking for reviews. That's a great idea.
Kathleen had a question about the Keepa chart. What is the number at the bottom of the sales rank column? Is that the average number sold each month?
All right, so you're looking at the Keepa chart. Ask the question again. Do you see my Keepa chart on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
So
what
the
was
number
the
at
question?
the bottom, so the number at the bottom, is that the average price? Let me pull her question up again real quick here.
Like I know with this particular item, I hover over the word statistic, and I can see that the average I can see the average price for new condition for the third party new is $13.66. So that's the average over the last 90 days. So it will give you the average price when you hover over statistic and then take a look at that little chart that pops up.
And since you're on that one, that screen there,
Mm-hmm.
Peter had a question about the used offers. Does that include collectible in the toy category?
It does, yes. If there is, I know that Amazon, when it shows the information through their API, equate collectible toys with used toys, and so it will come up as used on Scoutify or the Keepa graph. It will show that as used, not collectible, even though a toy on Amazon, it has to be called collectible, not used. Still, their API, for some reason, at least from my experience, still comes back as calling it used.
That's good to know.
And Nancy, we just wanted to confirm that the prices shown on Camel, 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 and Keepa, those are what the items sold for versus what they were listed for, correct?
That's a really good question, and something that definitely everyone needs to stop what you're doing and put your phone down and listen to this, because this is really important. Because this is something that a lot of people make assumptions on. The information that Camel, 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 and Keepa show is not the price when the item sold. It's the current low price for that particular category. So it will show the current low price for Amazon, the current low price in new condition, the current low price for used condition, and then there's all these other types of options too. You can do the low price for the third-party FBA. A lot of different options for you to look at, and so we can sometimes assume that the lowest price is what got the sale. That's not always true. Obviously, there's times where people will pay more for the sale, but we can see that the third-party. We can see that the item, when it sells, we can kind of compare it to the sales rank. So you can kind of see if the sales rank chart goes from a higher number to a lower number, that means a sale. We can almost look at how the price changed at that time or what the price was at that time to kind of get an idea. So it's not a perfect formula, it's not a perfect system, but it's good enough to make a really good decision about what it is. So it's not what the item sold for, because there's no way that Amazon gives that information, but it was the lowest price when the item sold.
That's really good to know. So it's the lowest price at the time of the sale, and because we know the buy box usually is going to be within 3%, it's, it's not going to go too far out of there. We know that that's going to be just really, really close to what an item actually sold for.
Yep.
Excellent information. Oh my goodness, what a great question.
And, yeah.
That was a good question.
And Kathleen she's clarifying a bit. She said her question was about the statistic pop-up on the Keepa chart. The last column is the sales rank. What is the 199 at the end of that column? What does that signify?
Okay, the 199 at the end of the column is drops, and drops is when the sales rank drops from a high number to a low number, and so what that means is, usually that means at least one sale. A drop means at least one sale, but it does not equate to a sale. So it doesn't mean that this item sold 199 times this month. It means that the sales rank dropped 199 times this month, and each drop means at least one sale. The sales rank of this item, like right now as we speak, is about 516. That's well within the top 1%. It's probably in the top 0.1% even. And so that means thousands of sales. So when you're looking at the statistics and you want to look at the drops, I only put weight in the drops. If it's like in the top 5% or maybe even the top 3%, I will give more weight to the drops. And I mean the top 5% or top 3% of the category for the sales rank for that item. I'll give more weight to the drops because top 1%, the sales are going so fast and so much, there's no way to figure out exactly how many sales that item has had.
Wow. People love Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
God bless the Paw Patrol people. Okay, we'll take one more question before we wrap up.
Okay, Ann has one. She wants to know, in the buy box but option on the right side, is that a good one to use? Would that equate more sales?
The buy box, yes. I clicked it to turn it on for this item, and it's not showing it but one time. Let me see if I can find another item that will show the buy box item more often. Let's see. I'll close this down, and let's just pick a different Paw Patrol item. All right, so here's the buy box, and you can see that at one time the buy box was actually about $24 higher than the current new price, and
Wow.
And so that's a good thing to know. And you can also see over here the buy box right here is almost $10 higher than the lowest third-party new seller, and so a lot of times people assume if they're the lowest price, they're going to get the buy box, and that's not always true. The buy box is rotated depending on where that product is. It's depending on your customer feedback, your seller rating, a lot of different factors that determine how often and how much you get the buy box, but it's not always the lowest price, and as seen by here, the lowest price there, $24.99, the buy box, $33.99. And so yes, it's good to have the buy box selected to be able to kind of see how much more you can even get for that particular item if you are able to get the buy box.
That's amazing. That's
One
absolutely
thing,
amazing.
Stephen, if you could answer for Cesar, on the How to Keep a Camel, is that an e-reader format, or what format does that download as?
So yeah, it's a PDF book. So if you go to howtokeepacamel.com and download that, it is a PDF book, and I think it's about 200 plus pages. I've had some people tell me that they've actually printed it out. That's a lot of ink.
Wow.
A few people have told me that they sent it to a local office supply store and had it bound up for them, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But it's a PDF book. You can read it on your computer or your Kindle or your iPad or something like that. But it also comes with a full 4.5 hours of video content, and the video content and the ebook content is exactly the same. And so you can get the information both ways, whether you want to read it or you can watch and listen to it.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Stephen, thank you so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I know all of our folks got a lot out of it. And if you are still here with us, as you are exiting the webinar, you're going to see a very quick survey. We're really reaching out a lot to Inventory Lab customers and even non-Inventory Lab customers to get your feedback. Your voice matters in what we do, and it's like a 45-second survey, nothing in depth. But if you wouldn't mind completing that as you exit, we would really, really appreciate it. But Stephen, thank you so much. I can't even tell you. For me personally, this was extremely valuable.
Yeah. Well, this was a lot of fun, and I know I talk fast. I get really excited about Keepa and Camel, and so yeah, people can just watch the replay to get this again. Take a look at the course as we go more in depth. It's so much stuff that totally revolutionized my Amazon business.
Yeah, I can absolutely see why. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Anything else, Jeff, before you wrap up and I call the webinar on the phone? And
No, thanks again, Stephen, for joining us. This has been a great amount of information. Appreciate it.
Thank you both for hosting this. I love Inventory Lab and use it every single day and can't imagine my life without it. And that's not just going crazy with praise. That's just a God honest truth. We love it.
we appreciate you so much. And we're looking forward to seeing you at CES this year again. So we will see you in September.
Yes, that'll be fun.
Well, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for spending the last hour with us. We really appreciate it. Again, go over to Full-Time FBA Facebook group or the Inventory Lab Facebook group. Post your questions there. We'll keep an eye on that today and tomorrow. and make sure we follow up with you as quickly as we possibly can. But everybody have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.